Hey sports card fans, it's John Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. It might not be the most attractive set of cards ever produced, but that's easy to overlook once you delve into the 1949 Bowman checklist. Featuring several big-name rookies and even more key early cards, the set has plenty of star power. The 1949 Bowman set has 240 cards. Leading the way as far as rookies go are Hall of Famers Duke Snider and Rory Campanella. Depending on the collector, some also consider this to be the home of Jackie Robinson and Satchel Page rookie cards. It's up for debate as both are also in 1948 Leaf Baseball, which some believe didn't come out until 1949 despite its copyright. Cards are smaller than today's traditional dimensions, measuring 2 1/16 by 2.5 inches. They're almost squares. Player images are in black and white with color backgrounds. Jerseys and hats have team colors added to them, adding some much needed pop compared to the previous year's release. The card backs have a brief write-up and player vitals. There's also a mail-away offer for various baseball-related merchandise like rings and a bank. For completists, 1949 Bowman has several variations that create multiple versions of cards for certain players. Originally, cards numbers 1 through 108 came without names on the front, but starting with number 109, they were added. Subsequent print runs added names to the fronts of a handful of the earlier cards, but not all. The variations that have the name on the front are the rarer of the two. Other cards have a slightly different text used for their names on the backs of the cards. These cards can be found with the name either in script or block text. Finally, of the first 73 cards, it is believed that all but number 4, Jerry Pretty, can be found with either white or gray stock on the back. In this video, I'm going to show the top 10 most valuable cards from the 1949 Bowman set based on their PSA 4 values. I'll also give the values of those cards in higher grades, as well as the population count of those grades. Now, before I get to the top 10, here are the cards that just missed the top 10. At number 15, the Pee Wee Reese card. At number 14, the Bob Feller card. At number 13, the Early Win card. At number 12, the Robin Roberts card. And at number 11, the Warren Spahn card. So, which cards made the top 10 list? Let's go find out. Coming in at number 10, we have the Bob Lemon card. In a PSA 4, there have been 85 graded copies with a current VCP average price of $373. There have been 72 graded at PSA 5. They sell for around $440. There have been 60 graded at PSA 6. They sell for around $625. There have been 70 graded at PSA 7. They sell for around $798. There have been 28 graded at PSA 8. They sell for around $1,781. There's only been 3 graded at PSA 9. The last PSA 9 sale was in January of 2024 through Memory Lane and sold for $31,986, placing the Bob Lemon at the number 5 spot in terms of PSA 9 graded copies on this top 10 list. And there has not been a PSA 10 graded copy of the Bob Lemon card. At number 9, we have the Yogi Berra card. In a PSA 4, there have been 148 graded copies with a current VCP average price of $425. There have been 154 graded at PSA 5. They sell for around $684. There have been 150 graded at PSA 6. They sell for around $712. There have been 114 graded at PSA 7. They sell for around $1,194. There have been 78 graded at PSA 8. They sell for around $2,190. There have been 16 graded at PSA 9. They sell for around $9,941. and there has not been a PSA 10 graded copy of the Yogi Berra card. At number 8, we have the Gil Hodges card. In a PSA 4, there have been 123 graded copies with a current VCP average price of $455. There have been 147 graded at PSA 5. They sell for around $553. There have been 115 graded at PSA 6. They sell for around $718. There have been 117 graded at PSA 7. They sell for around $1,282. There have been 87 graded at PSA 8. They sell for around $2,040. There have been 11 graded at PSA 9. They sell for around $10,552. And there has not been a PSA 10 graded copy of the Gil Hodges card. At number 7, we have the Stan Musial card. In a PSA 4, there have been 171 graded copies with a current VCP average price of $505. There have been 169 graded at PSA 5. They sell for around $704. There have been 154 graded at PSA 6. They sell for around $964. There have been 141 graded at PSA 7. They sell for around $1,436. There have been 72 graded at PSA 8. They sell for around $2,570. There have been 10 graded at PSA 9. The last PSA 9 sale was in February of 2024 through Memory Lane and sold for $15,943. And there has not been a PSA 10 graded copy of the Stan Musial card. Coming in at number 6, we have the Richie Ashburn card. In a PSA 4, there have been 102 graded copies with a current VCP average price of $704. There have been 83 graded at PSA 5. They sell for around $775. There have been 106 graded at PSA 6. They sell for around $1,231. There have been 81 graded at PSA 7. They sell for around $1,547. There have been 36 graded at PSA 8. The last PSA 8 sale was in April of 2022 through REA and sold for $2,880. There's only been one graded a PSA 9, and there has not been a reported sale of that one PSA 9 graded copy. And there has not been a PSA 10 graded copy of the Richie Ashburn card. At number 5, we have the Rory Campanella rookie card. In a PSA 4, there have been 184 graded copies with a current VCP average price of $713. There have been 223 graded at PSA 5. They sell for around $1,167. There have been 186 graded at PSA 6. They sell for around $1,424. There have been 157 graded at PSA 7. They sell for around $2,025. There have been 122 graded at PSA 8. They sell for around $4,498. There have been 18 graded at PSA 9. They sell for around $35,400, placing the Rory Campanella rookie card at the number 4 spot in terms of PSA 9 graded copies on this list. Now there has been 2 graded a PSA 10. The last PSA 10 sale was in August of 2019 through Memory Lane and sold for $79,200, placing the Rory Campanella at the number 3 spot in terms of PSA 10 graded copies on this list. At number 4, we have the Duke Snider rookie card. In a PSA 4, there have been 121 graded copies with a current VCP average price of $1,389. There have been 132 graded at PSA 5. They sell for around $1,464. There have been 114 graded at PSA 6. They sell for around $2,110. There have been 111 graded at PSA 7. They sell for around $3,453. There have been 81 graded to PSA 8. They sell for around $5,460. There have been 13 graded to PSA 9. The last PSA 9 sale was in August of 2022 through REA and sold for $44,400, placing the Duke Snider at the number 3 spot in terms of PSA 9 graded copies on this list. And there has been one graded a PSA 10. The last PSA 10 sale was in February of 2021 through Heritage and sold for $264,000, placing the Duke Snider at the number 2 spot in terms of PSA 10 graded copies on this list. Coming in at number 3, we have the Larry Doby card. In a PSA 4, there have been 101 graded copies with a current VCP average price of $1,412. There have been 106 graded at PSA 5. They sell for around $1,560. There have been 64 graded at PSA 6. They sell for around $2,070. There have been 63 graded at PSA 7. They sell for around $4,200. Now, there have been 69 graded at PSA 8, and they sell for around $3,480, but some of those sales are a little bit older than some of the current PSA 7 sales, which is why you see the PSA 8 values lower than the PSA 7 values. There have been 7 graded a PSA 9. The last PSA 9 sale was in June of 2018 through eBay and sold for $6,000. And there has not been a PSA 10 graded copy of the Larry Doby card. At number 2, we have the Satchel Page. In a PSA 4, there have been 156 graded copies with a current VCP average price of $4,747. There have been 146 graded at PSA 5. They sell for around $5,360. There have been 114 graded at PSA 6. They sell for around $8,665. There have been 105 graded at PSA 7. They sell for around $13,564. There have been 67 graded at PSA 8. They sell for around $23,050. There have been 9 graded a PSA 9. The last PSA 9 sale was in April of 2023 through Mile High and sold for $216,564, placing the Satchel Page at the number 2 spot in terms of PSA 9 graded copies on this list. And there has been one graded a PSA 10. However, there have been no reported sales of that one PSA 10 graded copy. But if PSA 9s go for over $216,000, you have to think that that one PSA 10 would go well above that and place it at the number 1 spot on this top 10 list. And the number 1 most valuable card from the 1949 Bowman set is the Jackie Robinson. In a PSA 4, there have been 209 graded copies with a current VCP average price of $5,514. There have been 213 graded at PSA 5. They sell for around $7,415. There have been 183 graded at PSA 6. They sell for around $6,270. Again, some of those sales may be a little bit older than some of the more current PSA 5 sales of the Jackie Robinson card. There have been 138 graded to PSA 7. They sell for around $19,560. There have been 115 graded to PSA 8. They sell for around $28,914. There have been 12 graded a PSA 9. The last PSA 9 sale was in November of 2023 through Heritage and sold for $288,000, placing the Jackie Robinson also at the number 1 spot for PSA 9 graded copies on this list. And there has not been a PSA 10 graded copy of the Jackie Robinson card. So there you go, the top 10 most valuable cards from the 1949 Bowman set. As always, would love to know what you think about the 1949 Bowman set in general and the cards that made the top 10 list. And if you've missed any of the videos in this series, here are 2 that you can check out. With that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.